Hey guys, welcome back. How are you? I hope you are good and doing well. In this lecture, I will show you that how to deal with dynamic select value changes using stimulus. You might have seen such situations when there are multiple drop downs in a form and value of some select boxes depends upon the value of the other select boxes. Okay, and you need to handle them using some JavaScript. And this dynamic selection may require ajax calling, or it could be static selection as well. By ajax calling, I mean that sometimes if you select a value from a select box, then other select box you might need to fetch data from the server or database. Okay, or it must be dependent data. For example, you can simply consider a example like you selected the state. Okay, and after selecting the state you need to fetch all the districts for that particular state. Okay, so this is how you can do in the ajax way, and sometimes this selection is static. And by static, what I mean that for example, here you can see that this is my model. Okay, and in this model I have some task types like full day, first half, second half, and partial time. Okay, and when I choose the task type, I need to set some hours for it. For example, if it is full day, then in general, what we consider as the full day, that it should be 8 hours of work. Okay, and when we consider first half or second half, so it means like half day, and for half day we consider 4 hours of work, and for the partial time it could be anything. Okay, so this is how we can handle the static values. Okay, and let me tell you that what we gonna do in this lecture. So on the browser you can see here that I have a list of time logs. Okay, or this is the time sheets, and here I can log time for a particular project for an employee, that how much he has worked on that particular project. Okay, so now when I go to this, I click on this button, you can see that this is the form opening in the bootstrap model. Okay, and what happens that if I have this task type, and this is the static drop down. Okay, so it's full day, first half, second half, and partial time. These are all the values in this task type, and this is my hours array. Okay, and what happens in this hours array, that you can see that it contains the value ranging from 0.25 to 10.0. Okay, and each value in this drop down represents an hour. Okay, for example, 0.25 represents the 15 minutes, 0.5 hours represent the half hour, and 1.0 represents the 1 hour completely, and so on. Okay, so this is how you can select hours for your particular work. Okay, but what I want that as we discuss right now, that in generally we consider that if I select full day, that means I work completely on that particular day. So here I can put let's say 8 hours dynamically. Okay, if I select first half, second half, or partial time, then I can choose hours accordingly. Okay, so if it is first half, then it should show 4.0 here. If it is second half, it should show 4.0 here. And if you select partial time, then it should not change anything, and you need to select hours for your work. Okay, so this is how we can make it dynamic. Okay, so to make it dynamic, what we need to do, that first we need to create a stimulus controller for our application, and we can create this stimulus controller from console. So let's switch to the console, and here you need to open the different browser, different terminal tab, and here what you need to do, that rails g stimulus, and then here you can provide your stimulus controller name, that is, let's say, work hours. Okay, and when you run this command, it will create a stimulus controller for you in the app javascript directory. Okay, and here you can see this file here, work hours controller, and here you can see that we need to connect an HTML element to this controller by using data controller attribute on it. Okay, so here you can see that this is my form, and here I'm using this task type. Okay, so here what I need to do, that data, and then here controller, and here I need to make it work hours. Okay, and just match that, just check that this data controller definition matching with this controller name here, that is data controller work hours. Okay, and now just to clarify that this controller is connects when you're form loading, so you can add something here like console.log, and here let's say connected. Okay, save it, and now if you go to the browser and reload the form again in the console, you will see that connected, because we now we can see this data controller here. So it is showing connected, and if you inspect this, you can see the data controller attribute here. Okay, that is work hours. Now we need to implement some logic to handle this dynamic change value in the hours for our stimulus control in the our stimulus controller. Okay, so now come to the stimulus controller again, and here you can, if you wish, you can keep this connect method, or if you wish, you can remove that as well, because this is not necessary now. And now you need to create the initialize method. Okay, and in this initialize method, what you need to do, that this dot element dot set attribute, and then what attribute we need to add, because whenever we add data controller to an HTML element for the stimulus to connect with our stimulus controller, we need to add data action attribute as well, like what action we want to perform when our controller get initialized. Okay, so set attribute, and here data action, comma, and then we will set this attribute when our select box value gets changed. Okay, so change. Okay, and here this is the syntax. Okay, and now controller name, that is work hours. Okay, and here you can add your action name. Okay, so just check this syntax. Okay, first, what event you want to initialize your controller, and what event you want to set this data action attribute, then your data controller name, and here you need to provide the action. Okay, so we can use action like, let's say, set logging work hours. Set logging work hours. Okay, now just copy this name, and here we need to implement this method. Okay, so here we can implement this set logging work hours. Okay, and here what we need to do, that first we need to get the selected index of the task type array. Okay, here we need to get the selected index of this drop down, because based upon this selected index, we can identify that what value user has chosen. Okay, so here what you need to do, in your stimulus controller, const selected task type, selected task type. Okay, and then this dot element dot options, and then this dot element dot selected index, selected index. Okay, and then we need to get its value. Okay, so now what this line will do, that here you can see this dot element means this element where we added where we connected our stimulus controller, that is the task type drop down. Okay, and then this dot element dot options, so options, all the option values within the task type, like full day, first half, second half, or partial time. Okay, and then selected index, so it will get the index what value we have selected. Okay, and then it will get its value. Okay, and then we need to check it, like whether we are getting value or not. So what we can do, alert selected task type. Okay, so just save this, and now let's see if we are able to see this value or not. Okay, so when you go to the add time, and if you select the task type, if you click on full day, so here you can see that we are getting this value, and if you select the first half, you can see we are getting its value. Okay, now we need to add some if else condition here. So here you can remove this alert box. Okay, and then now what we need to do, const, and then hours element or hours drop down, that would be more better. So hours drop down. Okay, and now what we need to do here, document dot get element by id, and now we need to provide the id of this hours attribute. Okay, so here we can get the id by inspecting it. So the id is time log time in hours. Okay, so just provide this here, and now you need to check, you need to set the value for it by checking the selected task type value. Okay, so what we can do here, if here selected task type is equal to full day. If it is full day, then what we need to do, Then we need to set the value, like let's say here for hours drop down dot selected index. Okay, and then here we can set the value of 8 or position of the 8.0 drop down here. So here you can see that we have long list of hours here, and here if you go to this you can see that these representing the index value. So this is for 0, so this is for 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 and so on. Okay, so it's my quarter is 0.25, so our 8 should be on index 32. Okay, so what I can do here, that is 32 now. Okay, and semicolon here. Now else if selected task type is equal to, if it is either first half or if it is either second half, then what I need to do, hours drop down dot selected index to 16. Why? Because my stepping is 0.25, so 4 will be on 16. Okay, and else, sorry, else if it is partial, then what I can do, that selected hours sorry, hours drop down dot selected index equal to 0. Why 0? Because for partial time you don't know that how much time you need to, how much hours you need to set for that time logging. Okay, so that's why I'm using selected index as 0 here. Okay, now save it, and we need to test that whether this is working or not. Okay, so that's it, save everything. Okay, and now go to the browser and refresh the page. First let's close this browser console. Let's select this 8 time. When you click on full day, you can see that it is setting 8 hours here. When you click on first half, it is setting 4. When you click on partial time, it is setting index to 0. So now you need to choose how much hours you need to provide for this partial time, and when you choose second half, it will again set it to 4. Okay, or when you choose it task type, it will again set it to hours. Okay, so this is how you can set the dynamic values based upon the drop down selection to other drop down value. Okay, and this is the static. For dynamic values, I already created a lecture for that, like how you can use ajax based drop down or dynamic dependent drop downs using stimulus. And another example is here, you can see that if I select the project. Okay, so here you can see I selected this project, and it loads all the drop down all the tasks under that project. Okay, and here you can see this example. For example, if I go here on the terminal where the server is running, and if I change the project, you can see that it is sending a request to fetch the project tasks. Okay, and if I change the request again, it is loading that task for that particular project. Okay, so this is how you can implement the dynamic uh, ajax based dynamic drop downs using stimulus, and I will add the link of that lecture into the description of the video, so you can check it out from there. Okay, but for static drop down, how we can do that, and this is just an example from one of my practice project, but if you wish, you can try the similar approach with all your needs as well. Depending upon your form attributes and select field names, you can use the similar approach to dynamic selection of drop down values. Okay, so I hope you like this lecture. So thanks for watching this, and we will meet into another lecture. Till then, tata, goodbye, take care, and stay safe.